Honestly, the job market sucks for candidates right now. Really sucks.
It's brutal.
And I would say like some of it is maybe unintentionally self-inflicted in the sense that like candidates are now trying to use AI tools to gamify how they apply to jobs, to mass apply, to use AI tools during interviews in ways that are not necessarily like transparent. There's fraudulent activity going on out there, like quite a bit of it. And it creates a lot of noise that makes it really hard to distinguish like who are the real humans that are like interested in the actual job.
Welcome to the podcast, where we introduce you to incredible humans who share their journeys with the mission to inspire you to harness your own inner tenacity to drive your life and career forward. And now, your host, Adam Posner.
We are back with an old friend. There was no way, Ariana, that I wasn't going to play this back again. First and foremost, welcome back.
Thank you. So good to be back.
How's motherhood treating you?
Oh, it is like the best job I've ever had, hands down. It's like a little surreal to be back, honestly.
And
it's like a year has passed.
And I apologize. Boy, girl?
Boy, his name is Leo.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And how old is he now?
Just about to turn 1.
Oh my God,
because
1 year.
I was 8 months pregnant in our last panel.
Yes, we're gonna put that video clip right here when we replay it. So, first child.
Yes.
Like there's everyone like. Here's what I found. I don't give people advice. Did you find like a lot of people are coming to you with like trying to dump all this motherhood advice on you?
You know, yes, but I welcomed it because I wanted it, and like I wanted a lot of perspectives. Because I feel like if I didn't have enough, I would just like over-index on one person's experience. And the thing I always tell my husband is like, all advice is like personal and autobiographical.
Of course it
right?
is.
So it's like not always about like from the lens of your life. So I try to like actually get a lot of input so that I can like custom fit what works for me.
Right. So you're collecting all of the data points and you're picking.
And I never actually got sick of the topic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So the only advice that I ever give people is baby sleeps, mommy sleeps.
Yeah.
But then people push back on that, but like when baby sleeps, mommy needs to take care of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, then when does mama sleep?
Yeah.
How's the sleep going?
Sleep is great.
Oh,
I think my baby sleeps through the night. He's been doing it for a while.
Amazing.
Yeah, we like invested really hard in sleep training. And the only reason I emerged as a sane human being from leave is because I had a really good support, like a supporting village. Like we didn't do it alone. We had my husband's in-laws come over. And that is like the main mechanism of how I got sleep.
You got support.
We have help.
So let's talk about how long did you take maternity leave for?
Almost 5 months. I tagged on a few extra weeks at the end.
Was it hard for you to check out?
No, not at all.
No one from Greenhouse is watching this. Don't worry at all.
No, I was ready to leave. I was ready for a new temporarily a new job.
Don't worry, Daniel.
Sorry, I love Greenhouse, but being a mom is the best job I ever had.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. So this is curious. I really haven't talked about this at all on any of the shows. Like, were you fully checked out? Were you still checking it a little bit? Like, how did that work for you?
I thought like, okay. First of all, I'll start off by saying Greenhouse respects leaves. I don't know how it works at other companies, but I do feel like I've seen a lot of examples of other people that feel like, oh, I need to be like available if like XYZ thing happens, even though I'm on leave. Like we have a very strong caregiver community at Greenhouse. And like, we want people to have that space so that like they can fully step away and then they can fully come back.
Because it's respecting the whole person, not just the work person, but the whole person. And the thought behind it is if we give people the time and space, it's not just retention, it's doing the right freaking thing.
Yeah. And like, I can then have this like beautiful life experience in its entirety. I don't have to feel like my brain is split between like whether I prioritize my son's needs or like something happening at the company. And honestly, like I felt like it would be a very healthy time to step away because the AI hype was just like reaching this fever pitch. And I was like ready for the industry to like work itself out a little bit because everyone was like building the same products, pitching the same thing.
It's still happening.
And I'm like, you know what? It actually feels healthy for me to step away for
what a great perspective.
Yeah. And I came back and I'm
so
like,
the only reason
wow.
you had a kid was to get away from the AI gold.
Strategy for happiness.
Strategy for happiness is having a child to step away from that. No, I absolutely love that too because you really need to detox from work so you can give all your time and attention to this new creature that you hatched into this world and nurture him. So let's talk about the re-immersion back into work. How did that go for you jumping back in? Did you jump back in? Did you
I
kind of
jumped
dip
back
your
in.
toes back in the water a
I
little
had
bit?
no illusion that it would be a ramped onboarding. I knew that like things were moving fast, but here's the thing: because I've been at Greenhouse for so long, I knew that I was going into Q4. I knew that what happens in Q4, like strategic planning, budget setting,
Right,
like all these things happen. And I already had like really good relationships with the company. So I feel like if I was a new mom in a new role, it would have been a very different story.
Right.
But I was really able to lean on the relationships I already had.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room here, AI. From a high, well, first and foremost, tell everyone what you do at Greenhouse. We didn't even set the table there.
Yes, I am the VP of Talent Planning and Talent Acquisition. That is our fun and fancy way of saying recruiting team.
Well, what's it like to? Oh, I can't believe I didn't ask you this on stage. What's it like to be a recruiter at well, it's an ATS platform, but it's in the recruiting business.
Yes.
What's similar and what's different than other industries?
Oh, I love this topic. Well, I'll give you a very real example, like participating in these kinds of conversations, right? Like it's an incredible opportunity to be on a recruiting team at a company that is literally obsessed about making recruiting great, not just for companies, but also for job seekers. That is like literally our mission, make hiring work for everyone. And part of the reason I've stayed at Greenhouse for so long, like I'm coming up on 11 years in May.
It's a long time.
Part of the reason I've stayed so long is because there is a dual nature to the role. You got to do, first and foremost, you got to run a really great recruiting team. But you also have this kind of like internal responsibility around like having a feedback loop with product, trying to think about like what's next for recruiting. How do we uphold really high internal standards?
Values.
How do we like talk to customers and stay engaged with how people are like thinking about, changing up the way that we work. And that is honestly the funnest part of the job.
You said something interesting that I've heard from multiple folks at Greenhouse. And I'm going to say this. Most ATS platforms I speak to are never talking about the candidate, but Greenhouse puts a candidate first. So through the lens of the candidate, what is it about the Greenhouse experience that makes it different for them versus other applications?
Yeah.
We don't talk about
honestly, the job market sucks for candidates right now. Really sucks.
It's brutal.
And I would say like some of it is maybe unintentionally self-inflicted in the sense that like candidates are now trying to use AI tools to gamify how they apply to jobs, to mass apply, to use AI tools during interviews in ways that are not necessarily like transparent. There's fraudulent activity going on out there, like quite a bit of it. And it creates a lot of noise that makes it really hard to distinguish like who are the real humans that are like interested in the actual job. So that's like a really, really big problem statement right now. And the thing that we realized at Greenhouse is like, we can't just focus on the experience of the corporate recruiter. Like that's only one side of the problem.
It's only one side of who the product talks to.
Yeah. And so like, how can we have a part of our product be a place in the ecosystem where the job seeker can also have a better experience? So I'll give you an example. When someone creates an account on My Greenhouse, which is our B2C facing platform, they can, for example, identify companies that they would love to have a dream job at. And so every month you can say, hey, I want to work at Greenhouse. This is my dream job. And you kind of like, you tell basically that to My Greenhouse, and you have an opportunity to do that once every month.
Interesting.
And then what the recruiting team can see on that side is like, oh, this is a dream job candidate, right? Like, so it's creating a little bit more signal and showing a little more intention in a very noisy marketplace.
I love that.
And I'll tell you, like,
it's almost like a job search agent. You're utilizing the ATS platform that you're applying for multiple jobs, and now you're telling you what you're looking for. So it's almost like an outbound agent for you.
And like the best stories are when we get to hire a dream job candidate. Like we already have several instances of that internally at Greenhouse. We have about 4. And every time we hire a dream job candidate, we're like, oh my God, like this is such a special moment. This is literally their dream job.
If you're in recruiting, you already know that sourcing eats up way more of your day than it should. That's why I use Pin. Instead of writing Boolean searches and tweaking filters, you just describe what you're looking for and who you're looking for in plain English. I could type something like software engineer at Series A startup with 0 to 1 product experience, and Pin will surface a relevant shortlist right away. No guessing, no wasted time. It turns hours of sourcing into seconds. So book a demo today and see for yourself. Visit pin.com/demo. Tell them Adam sent you.
I'm going to tell you what my dream job is.
Okay.
I'm going to do something a little unorthodox here. So I've been running my own business for 10 years. I love what I do. Market's tough. And I recently started to apply for full-time jobs. And I have found that I'm unhireable because a lot of companies are looking at my background and they're seeing somebody who's had their own business for 10 years and they're being myopic and not seeing certain things. But obviously, I would crush it in any in-house role. So I started to think a little bit more about what my dream job would be.
Yeah.
And I think about all those skills, because I think what we don't talk about now, people have portfolio careers and portfolio skills. So I think about my skill set. 15 years working in marketing, 10 years working in recruiting, 7 years working in podcasting.
Yeah.
How could I position that within an organization, maybe in the recruitment or HR
Yeah.
tech space? What values could I bring? How could I position myself and maybe say, is there a job like that exists for me? How do I create a job? So for the folks that are out there right now that are struggling, that have all these different skill sets, how would you kind of coach them to say, this is the best way to position yourself in the market? I went the long way on there. I just wanted to share a little bit what I'm going through.
I'm not going to say like, you got to know people. I mean, like a standard answer would be like, you got to know people, you got to be a referral, you got to like personalize as much as you can. I actually see a very interesting shift happening at companies right now where they're putting a little more emphasis on the interpersonal skills, like the behavioral skills. We're actually doing that at Greenhouse. So we have a set of very defined behaviors that we expect everyone at the company to embody. So it's a little bit less about like, where specifically did you work and what specific role have you done? It's not only that, it's like, hey, I'll give you an example. One of our behaviors is make good decisions fast, right? A good decision that's made too slow is not the right decision, right?
Right.
And so like this industry, in an industry that's changing so rapidly, how can we find people that will like help us make good decisions fast? Help us not like drive only consensus decision making. So
you don't
like
just yes people in your organization.
So, but like I offer that as an example of a behavior that we're like leaning into and that we're designing our interviews around. And I'll give you like another example. Like, how do we find people that will help us be entrepreneurial or like invent the future? Like, this is the language that we're using internally.
So how do you train your team or coach your team, I should say, to ask and assess those questions?
Correct.
Like, how do you?
Oh, is that
I'm asking you, how do you get to that?
That's a good question. So,
what's the line of questioning?
Well, like, here, let me give you some backstory. There's a challenge right now, I think, with traditional interviewing, where traditional interviewing, like structured interviewing, is really easy for AI to figure out. And there are tools out there where
Very formulaic.
Right. There are candidates, and like the STAR method, AI can crush that. And there are literally AI platforms that will real time like be there for you in an interview and like let you read off answers.
Yeah, second screen.
Right.
Second screen.
Right. And so one of the things that my team recently is like, hey, we need a moment, like a think tank moment to actually address this problem. Because like what is the goal now of an interview when you get like a human to a human? And so we did a workshop recently that we positioned as AI offense and AI defense. AI defense is this idea of how do we design interview questions and experiences that are more AI resistant? And then AI offense was how do we explicitly test for someone having the right mindset or AI skills, like mindset around AI or like hard AI skills that will make them succeed at Greenhouse in the time we're in now. And so like, I can't say I have all the answers, but this is a very active work stream and an active conversation.
It's fluid.
Around what does AI defense look like and what does AI offense look like? And how do we build that into the way that we hire?
That is a fascinating thought prompt, if I'm going to use a AI pun here. What about, like, I've heard some other companies too, when they ask folks, and I don't know if it's Zig and Duty personally, like, how do you use AI personally? Right?
Yeah.
They want to, because what they're trying to get to, Ariana, is curiosity.
Yeah.
They're trying to get to that curiosity. So when I talk to folks, when I talk to candidates, depending on the role, I want to know how curious they are. I want to know what they're doing on their own. I want to know what they're digging into. So we're coming to the end here of this conversation. How is it being back here at Transform a year later?
Oh, it's electrifying.
What's different in a good way? What is lighting you up walking around?
Okay, so I cannot offer a fair assessment of this conference because I actually had no time to attend any sessions. But I think what that speaks to is like, I was here to like reconnect with people. I ran a workshop on Monday and that was like the only session that I was actually a part of. But like the rest of the time here was like conversations, meeting with people, like talking about like, hey, like to my industry peers at other companies, like, what are you doing? What are you seeing? What are you using? Right?
Yes, exactly.
Like that's where I actually get the most value because that's as like tangible and concrete as you can get. Like the business leaders walking around the room, what are they actively doing, implementing, thinking about versus like, a panel that might be a little bit more high level. And so like, I love this conference specifically because of the energy of like the people kind of floating around and experimenting with stuff. And I get the most out of like these one-to-one conversations.
Absolutely. I love it. Ariana Moon with Greenhouse. What's your favorite place for folks to connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. That's kind of like the traditional place. I'm a very, very proud resident of Vegas. I don't know if a lot of people will say that, but if you ever want to strike a conversation with me, I can have a long conversation about how awesome it is to live here.
And it's so funny too. We just said it's the same analogy because this is day 9 of 10 for me. And the analogy is for all my New Yorkers, it's like living in Times Square. Nobody does it.
Yes,
Nobody
I don't
lives
live
on
in the
the
time. I don't live in Times Square.
No, you live uptown, downtown, east side, west side, Long Island, Westchester, but no one lives on the strip. But Ariana, I want to thank you so much for your friendship, your mentorship, your guidance. I'm a huge fan of Greenhouse and everything you guys are doing there, and I look forward to continuing to build our relationship.
Yeah, great.
Ariana Moon, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wisdom is forever, but for us, it's time to go. Thank you for joining us. Luckily, we'll be back with our next episode soon, jam-packed with more incredible humans. Thank you for listening, subscribing, and sharing. To join the conversation, search the Podcast on LinkedIn. And to catch up on past episodes and more info, please visit www.thepodcast.com.